It's day 3 of our British Isles Explorer cruise. We're arriving in Dover, England. We're passing the iconic Dover Cliffs as we approach the port. We're off to an early start to arrive at the Leeds Castle before it opens to the general public. Leeds Castle has a steep history. It has existed since 837. It was originally a wooden fortress constructed by a Saxon chief called a lead or lead. In the 13th century, it became the favorite residence of King Edward I. Henry VIII used the dwelling for his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. The present castle dates mostly from the early 19th century. Its last private owner, Olive Lady Bailey, left the castle in trust, open to the public. It has been open since 1976. As we walk through the castle, we could only imagine Lady Bailey living and entertaining in these spaces for over 50 years.
Side is the toilet, and on the right hand side is the shop. There's quite a few nice things in the shop. I did buy a few Christmas presents there this year.
Leeds Castle truly is a storybook castle, complete with a moat. We're off to Canterbury.
Bombing places like Dresden, Cologne, really beautiful cities. And wall here, careful not to get hit by arrows as we look at that little tower that has a little arrow slips on it. If you look over the wall here, you'll see quite a modern bit of Canterbury, and that's where a lot of the bombing occurred. Roman ruins. Because underneath, sort of 10 to 20 feet underneath, main drag that goes through Canterbury main centre, and you'll see a little clock still exists. So when you're having your free time, you might end up walking a little bit up the high street at Burgate, and then Westgate is the one that still stands, and it is currently a museum, but it used to be the jail. That's how big it is. It's like a square mile, maybe a mile and a half, that's it. On the right hand side, you have part of King's School.
The Crooked House is the most photographed building in Canterbury. In Charles Dickens' words, it's leaning forward to see who was passing on the narrow pavement below. We approached the Buttermarket Square outside of the entrance of Canterbury Cathedral. This was the meeting point for our tour group as well as for many other tour groups entering and exiting the cathedral. The west front of the cathedral was undergoing a £600 million renovation at the time of our visit.
Gregory the Great, and the other guy is a monk called Augustine. And it was 1400 years ago when Pope Gregory the Great sent Augustine, the monk, to England, obviously from Rome, for two reasons. He sent him here because he hoped he'd get a warm and friendly welcome in Canterbury. And I'm very pleased to say that we know he did, and we hope everybody else has ever since that time. The other reason he sent him here was to reintroduce Christianity into this land.
Welcome to.
Now, on that basis, you could...
welcome to the oldest cathedral in the land, by no means the largest cathedral in the land, but it is the most important.
A single candle burns in the place where an elaborate shrine for Thomas Becket once stood for nearly 400 years, until it was destroyed by orders of Henry VIII in 1538 during the Reformation. In 1170, Thomas Becket was brutally murdered in the cathedral while serving as Archbishop of Canterbury. He is believed to have died as a martyr while defending the rights of the church after a bitter dispute with Henry II. Although to this day it is uncertain as to whether the king gave a direct order to have Becket killed, or whether the king's knights took it upon themselves to murder him because the king had expressed his disdain for Becket by saying, "I wish he was dead."
Our destinies divide, and therefore live we all live to die and rise to fall. No sadness now or blame, but a memory and a flame to burn beyond the passing of.
It's the end of a beautiful and interesting day in Kent and Canterbury, England. It's now time to return to the Viking Neptune.